Hello, everyone, and welcome to 1v1 with Boss Rush Games. I'm your host, Celeste Roberts. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Matthew and Adam, the creators of Because I've Lost Control of My Life, a Rugrats podcast. I love the name of the podcast so much. How are y'all doing tonight?
I'm good.
Yeah, great. Tired after work, but that might make it funnier.
Same.
Do you get a little loopy whenever you're tired?
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially when together, although that's been a while. When was the last time we did hang out? Your wedding?
Yeah. It was almost, it's going to be 4 years ago.
Oh my god.
Y'all haven't hung out in person in 4 years?
It's like a 6-hour drive, so.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And then COVID hit, so that is a built-in excuse.
It's a good way to avoid family gatherings, COVID.
Oh, I agree. I was really happy for that get out of jail free card last year. Well, how do y'all know each other? Tell us about the name of the podcast, about yourselves, whatever you'd like to share.
Adam, do you want to start with how we met?
We met, was it through our friend John? Kind of.
We make fun of on the podcast a lot.
We just ended up walking home together one day and talking about all kinds of stupid stuff together. And actually, the one topic we were really talking about was the upcoming Zelda game, Wind Waker. Which, the trailer had been out from Space World or whatever the demo they had for a long time, and a lot of people were like, "I don't like the way this looks," and we were like, "Well, it could be fun."
What's really funny is that's actually probably aged the best of any of that generation's games because it is cel shaded. Yeah. And now we go into a Zelda podcast, another Zelda podcast.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's what I'm with. Yeah, I'm with another Zelda podcast. Yeah, I like that reference. Thank you for that.
Right. But you're welcome. So yeah, one day, we went to walk home and John wasn't in school, and that was the first time Adam and I hung out one-on-one. And we went to my grandma's house, and the house next to hers was burning and on fire, and there were fire trucks. So the first time we hung out one-on-one, we watched a house burn down.
You can't make this up.
No. And I walked into my grandmother's house, and she's like, "Oh, the power's out. Grandma don't know why." I'm like, "Grandma, the house next door is on fire."
Well, were the people okay, and any pets?
Yeah, I think they were okay. But
it was like an apartment, or was it just a house?
I don't even remember. I think it's a parking lot now. That's what's really important, is it's now a parking lot. No.
Isn't there a song about that? Pave Paradise, put up a parking lot.
Burn down houses, put up a parking lot. But no, we from there we just we clicked as friends and hung out all the time, watching cartoons, playing video games. We were both in bands that played together at different points. And we were college roommates.
Yeah, that's something.
What a bunch of nerds.
That had to be a blast.
Yeah, it was a good time. We definitely have some funny stories from college that have they come up on the podcast? I don't even remember.
There are some, but remember when we got absinthe for the first time?
Oh yeah, that was funny.
Oh, in Europe?
No,
no, it was in our town, but that was a fun night. What do we remember?
Green fairies,
right?
No, I just got so drunk I was annoying him.
Well, our mutual friend Tori, who is really, really obnoxious and a jerk, I was on the phone with him, and Adam was in the background just making all kinds of crazy noises and rolling around. And on the phone, Tori just yells, "Tell him to shut the fuck up." So that's an indication of how annoyingly drunk he was. But so yeah, how did we decide to do this podcast, Adam?
We were just kind of messaging each other on Facebook, and he said we should do a podcast. And we do that. That's something we do all the time, but never follow through on. Yeah. And so we were like, well, what if we do a podcast? What are we talking about? And I think one of the ideas was watching a show until we didn't like it anymore, and then and it would be like a podcast to pinpoint when a good show turns into shit.
Which might happen with this show.
Yeah.
I look forward to it. If I have time, I listen to it on Sunday nights, and if not, I listen to it while I'm getting ready on Monday morning.
Thank you.
It's so funny, and I always I hope the volume's not too loud if it's in the morning, because whenever Stu screams in your intro
that was great. Matthew put that together, and it was really like the perfect intro.
Yeah, that was my bit of inspiration. So what is it about you're interviewing us, but I'm going to ask you a question. What is it about the podcast that you like?
Oh gosh, I think we're all around the same age, same generation. I'm 32. So I grew up watching Nickelodeon, early Cartoon Network, WB, One Saturday Morning, all the good stuff. And Rugrats was one of my favorite TV shows. So I was telling Adam and Matthew before we started recording that I found out about them because my friend Kayla from the Bad Bitches podcast retweeted one of their tweets from the Because I've Lost Control of My Life podcast. And I was amazed. There's a Rugrats podcast. I could listen to people talk about Rugrats. And I love the banter you two have. I enjoy hearing about what's going on in people's lives. I liked hearing about your COVID experiences. Well, the COVID vaccination. Not their having COVID experiences. Let me clarify that.
We had a friend that got it.
And we made fun of him.
Oh, no.
I don't think we did on the podcast, but we wanted to. We forgot to. He's fine.
I think we've made reference to him on the show before. We haven't said his name yet, which he may appear in the future. Spoiler alert. But he is very much a social butterfly and couldn't just stay home during COVID. And he went to somebody's house or a get together or something and promptly got COVID. So, and I think actually he was the one to make fun of himself first. So I think he's like, I'm an idiot. I couldn't stay home or something like that.
Is he okay now?
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
He wasn't even that bad. I think he just got tired and sore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, we would have pulled our punches on purpose, but we accidentally were nice to him.
So I know the meaning behind the name of your podcast because it's one of my favorite scenes in Rugrats history. But for those who may have forgotten about it, would you like to explain?
Would you like to take this, Adam?
Yeah, so it's from the episode Angelica breaks her leg, or breaks a leg, whichever one it is. But in it, she at least believes she breaks her leg. And then Stu and Dee Dee have to take care of her. And they give her a little bell where she rings it and asks for whatever she wants. And there's a scene where Stu is in the kitchen making chocolate pudding for her at 2 or 3 a.m. And Dee Dee comes in and she's like, Stu, what are you doing out here at 2 a.m.?
And he's like, pudding.
Why?
Because I've lost control of my life. I think that clip on YouTube literally has millions of views, and it's like a meme and everything. And I think we had a couple of different ideas for a name for the show. And then Adam, I think I just randomly texted you and I said, because I've lost control of my life. Or maybe it was vice versa. I don't remember. Yeah. But we're like, that's it. That's the name.
It's so good.
Thank the writers of that episode of Rugrats.
Yeah, for letting us steal.
So who made you two into Rugrats characters, the icon of your podcast?
A friend of mine named Carly Strauss. Go to her website, carlystraussartist.com. She's a painter, artist, illustrator, and she does commissions of a bunch of different things, paintings. And I said, hey, can you make us into Rugrats characters? And she's like, sure. And she turned it around in no time. And actually, if you look at the audio commentary that we recently released for the reboot, she made us as Beavis and Butthead too.
So. She did. I saw that.
We will probably use her a lot going forward. We have some different ideas, especially for an upcoming episode.
She's very talented because you both look like the characters from the shows you're meant to look like you're a part of.
Right.
And I think it's Matthew. You're just flicking Adam off
Yeah.
the little icon. And Adam just looks so innocent.
Yeah, she drew me as like I was like an oblivious guy. Like I don't even understand why he's mad at me.
You know what's really funny is like you obviously you would understand that in real conversations, but there have been times, especially when we lived together, where we'd be having a conversation and I'd be in the middle of a sentence and you'll suddenly just look at me and go, "Huh?" Like you just completely missed out on a conversation. So maybe she subconsciously picked up on that.
Yeah, I'm easily distracted.
Well, it doesn't come through in the episodes, that's for sure.
It's a lot of editing.
Well, what about yourselves? What kind of hobbies or interests do y'all have outside of Rugrats?
Cannibalism, apparently. For those who haven't listened to our podcast, the subject of cannibalism comes up perhaps more than you would think for a show about talking babies. But I don't know what, Adam, like the things that we bonded over hanging out. We like what, video games and movies and, you know, a whole bunch of children's cartoons from the 90s.
And King of the Hill. We really... In fact, when we were watching that house burn down, we were like sipping cans of soda and going, "Yep," like King of the Hill.
I am just like, I watched a little bit of it growing up, but I'm watching it now, and it's amazing what I'm catching now as an adult in that show.
Oh, yeah.
And Peggy's a little insufferable sometimes.
Adam,
Yeah.
I believe you said she's the worst.
Oh no, I don't hate Peggy.
For some reason I thought that you did.
We were talking about how other people hate Peggy, and I don't hate her as much as everybody else. Like people kind of view her as like always bringing Hank down, but really, a lot of the times Hank is the bad guy of the show.
Yeah, I think she means well. It's just sometimes when you can see that something's going to go in a bad direction and she's not stopping. I recently watched the one where she and Hank got a motorcycle.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
That's the one where they're traveling state to state, taking pictures in front of each state sign.
Yes, and they go to, I cannot remember the name of this. It's kind of like Burning Man for biker gangs in like South Dakota.
Oh, Sturgis.
Sturgis, yep.
Yeah, so they go there. And I had never heard of it, so I asked my boyfriend, I was like, is that fun? Like, what is that? He goes, okay, picture Burning Man, but with bikers. I was like, you think they do drugs? Oh, they're doing drugs. Yeah. What kind of video games do y'all like?
Well, we've been really into Resident Evil lately. Resident Evil 8 just came out. Matthew started playing 7.
Upon beating 8.
Yeah. There's that. I like a lot of Nintendo games. I think they're pretty they usually do a pretty good job. Especially like
Go ahead, sorry.
especially like Mario, Zelda, you can't go wrong with those.
Yeah, I think we're very big Nintendo fans. Like pretty much our favorite system ever is probably, at least for me, is the GameCube. Just the overall lineup of games, like the exclusives, just pound for pound, I think it might be the best system ever, at least in my opinion. But yeah, a lot of the same. I don't like a lot of big budget like blockbuster games so much anymore. Like outside of Resident Evil, I really like indie games like FTL and I can't even think of what else. This War of Mine is a tremendous game. It's like hard and almost heartbreaking to play at times. I really like the Vermintide games. I don't really play games too much on my own anymore outside of Resident Evil. So games like that or Left 4 Dead, where it's like a 4-player co-op, I really, really enjoy that because it's also an opportunity to socialize. So, yeah, that kind of thing.
I really like the GameCube as well. There's a podcast I found a few months ago called The GameCube Was Cool podcast. They're covering all the GameCube games.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
I just
It is awesome.
yeah, I always think of that Marge Simpson meme where she's holding a potato and she says, "I just think they're neat," but with a GameCube in her hand.
Send it to me. You made that. Send that to me.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Is that
No,
a
you
cat
did send
or
it
a
to me.
dog? I see a
I'm
cat
sorry,
or a
what?
dog.
That
I
is
saw
a little,
an animal moving and I got really excited.
It's a little, or it's a very old orange cat.
Oh, sweet.
He was
baby.
also our roommate in college.
Sweet baby. Oh, the cat yawned. I'm a big
He's not
cat
sweet.
fan.
He's a jerk.
He's missing a lot of teeth now.
I love him, but he's a jerk.
That's most cats, though, right?
Yeah. We're both like old cat men.
There's nothing wrong with that. I have 2 cats myself, and I like dogs, but I like how easy cats are to take care of.
Until they get IBS and you have to give them a steroid every couple of days.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Is it pretty bad with your cat? With the
It
IBS?
was for a long time, but knock on wood, he's been pretty good for a few years now. So yeah.
I didn't know
He's
cats could get
somewhere
IBS.
now.
I didn't
I'm
know
sorry,
cats could. I didn't know they could get IBS.
Yeah, it's he couldn't keep anything down, and it was well, Adam, what you came over to my place like when we were going to get fitted for tuxes for your wedding, and my cat's like puking everywhere, and it was when he first got sick, and like it was like a cat puking, you don't really think that much of it, but because it's a cat, but when they do it like 40 times a day, literally, it's like okay, it's time to go to the vet.
Yeah.
So yeah, but he's good now. Again, knock on wood.
Do y'all think you want any other type of animal as a pet?
I mean, I'd love to have like 9 cats, and like I like dogs too, but I can just have the one cat, which I'm fine with. He's an old man and needs a lot of care, so I'm good with giving him an extra special life.
Yeah, I always watch videos on YouTube of people with like giant lizards, and I'm like, oh yeah, an Argentine tegu. That's what I want. But no, I'll never get one of those because I know that it would just be too much of a hassle to take care of. They're not good for the environment if they get away from you, and
because they murder everything and disrupt the ecosystem.
Yeah, I think in Florida they're already a major pest. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think snakes are a big problem in Florida, or they used to be, because I think people were letting their boas and pythons just into the marsh.
Yeah, there was like that. There was like a picture of a boa constrictor eating an alligator, and then it exploded because the alligator was too big.
Is this is something I can look up?
Yes.
Oh my god.
It's probably multiple incidents by now.
Unrelated, but tangentially related because of an exploding animal. I once saw a video of a whale carcass being cut open, which promptly exploded.
Yeah, it was disgusting but fascinating at the same time.
You have to watch it again and again.
Like, did I just see that? Did I?
Like, explode how?
It's not like the gas built up in its body.
But I mean, like you see flesh flying like 100 feet, or like it just kind of pops like a balloon.
I'll have to find it and send it to you because it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll find it and post it in the chat. That might be funny.
The insides just kind of go everywhere.
Okay.
But speaking of alligators, or crocodiles, we found the video.
I just want to. I'm sorry to cut you off, but the first video that came up when I YouTubed whale exploding is the exploding whale compilation 2017.
Oh my gosh, was that a hot year for a whale explosion?
Apparently.
What am I doing with my life? I'm in an office when I could be like helping whales explode. I don't know.
It is helping them.
I guess the whole point would be so they don't get on the, what is it called when they get onto shore?
Beaching,
yeah. Helping, yeah, that would, maybe the point would be to help them not get to that point.
Oh my God.
Y'all should have a podcast about exploding animals. That would be
Well, Adam, you ready for the spinoff?
How many animals have exploded naturally?
It was on Reddit, but I saw this video of an alligator or a crocodile in some kind of oasis, some kind of water hole, and these cheetahs, leopards, I'm not sure what it was, but these cheetahs were near the edge of the water, and all of a sudden this alligator slash crocodile jumps out of the water, pulls the cheetah into the water.
God.
Oh yeah, it was not coming out. The other cheetahs were slowly backing away.
Poor
Do you ever
kitty.
like feel you root for certain kinds of animals over others?
Yeah.
Like I'd root for a
Sometimes.
cheetah over an alligator.
Me too.
We have a lot of alligators down here. I'm in southern Louisiana.
Yeah. That'll do it.
Does that mean you're on Team Alligator?
Oh, they are delicious to eat, actually.
I have heard that they're kind of like a cross between chicken and fish,
Yeah, they're kind of like
which is
that.
broad. But
Yeah, they're very good. Sometimes, like, they don't appear in our backyards or anything. If you live along a waterway, there's a chance. But sometimes you'll see a carcass of a small one on the road.
Like a
I know, it's so
deer.
sad. I know, poor things. But okay, so we're gonna talk about Rugrats because I'm so sorry. We're
This
talking
is
about
what happens on
exploding.
our podcast, so it's
So I need to know if you have a favorite Rugrat, who is it and why?
Adam.
When I was a kid, it probably would have been Chucky because I was a a little scaredy cat when I was a kid. These days, I don't know. Or at least early seasons, I gotta go with Tommy. He's just cute. He's funny. He destroys everything.
Season 1 in particular. um, it's so hard to say. The easy answer is Tommy, and maybe it is Tommy. But as far as all of the characters, I mean, not every episode is an ensemble because there are obviously episodes where it's just Tommy or whatever. But I think the entire group of babies interacting, that's just like, that's one of the things that makes it so classic. But if I had to choose, it would be Tommy because, as if you've listened to the podcast, you know we absolutely adore season 1. And what we refer to as the dumb baby episodes are typically Tommy going around causing destruction. So that's probably Tommy.
I just I don't know how you can listen to the crying as you're editing the episodes whenever one of the babies cries, because that is just the sound of a baby crying is one of the worst sounds in the whole world, like in
I agree.
Yoshi's Island when you have to save baby Mario.
I have a very much younger than me brother and sister, so I'm used to babies crying. Like I could probably ignore it, which isn't good if I ever have a kid.
You could probably that's the opposite of what you want.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm not a fan of babies.
I like them for a little while, and then I like giving them back to their parents.
I used to work for Boys and Girls Club of America, and it helped me develop the theory that I like kids when I can work with them for like a couple of hours, but then I get to go home and like someone else can take them home, and like I don't have to deal with them beyond that. So yeah,
You don't have to
exactly.
be responsible for their entire well-being.
Yeah, I already do that for my cat, so we'll deal with that.
One of my former bosses has triplets.
Oh God.
Yeah.
My coworker has 9 children and 2 sets of twins. Not even kidding.
9 children. Okay, that's
9
pretty
children.
that's pretty rare in 2021.
Yeah.
What are their ages?
Well, I started at this job last February, and he was just about to have a set of twins. So there are some that are just like a year old, and then I think his oldest is like 17 or 8. Well, no, because 18 or 19, because some of them were just starting college. So the full gamut.
Oh my goodness.
His poor wife.
Oh,
When some of
yes,
your
poor
kids-
wife.
When some of them get old enough, they can start taking care of the young ones.
That's probably what happens. I don't know how you could do it otherwise.
Yeah.
So many children. I don't even know if I'd want that many people living in my house.
I don't even want that many people ever in my house at a time. Now 9 cats, yes, but
Yes. Oh, my dream would be to have this big piece of land with a really nice facility where I could just have cats and they'd be clean and safe and cared for.
I was just imagining a floor covered with so many cats that they couldn't move and just like rolling over their backs like surfing on a crowd, like crowd surfing on a carpet of cats.
Oh, I know. I follow some of the local animal shelters, and sometimes they pose the cats and dogs with little bow ties and flowers. And it's taken all of my will to not just stop by an afternoon.
I've definitely stopped by animal shelters when I wanted to pet cats. So,
Oh, and you were able to resist taking one home?
yes, sadly.
Oh. I think there's a local program where they have kids who are nervous about read to the animals.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I think that's in a bunch of different places. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I know I've heard of something like it, which I'm all for that.
Do you think they'd allow adults like us to go read to the animals?
I hope so.
I just want to point out that Matthew is sad that he's tough enough to resist a kitten.
That's true. I am sad about it.
Oh, so I have a group chat with two friends where we just send each other pictures of our cats every day. Oh, what book do you think you would read to pets or animals, I should say?
I just looked over at my bookshelf. This wouldn't be my first choice, but the first book that I laid eyes on was Junkie by William S. Burroughs.
Isn't he the guy who wrote The Naked Lunch, I think?
Yes. What do you think, Adam?
I'm reading the fourth book of the Dark Tower series right now, so I guess I'd be reading my cats some Stephen King.
That would be really funny. Just picture all these little kids and they're reading things like Corduroy and Clifford. And you have William S. Burroughs and Stephen King.
Perfect.
Well, so you've mentioned that you're both big fans of season 1, and I didn't realize Rugrats was so short-lived, I guess. Well, let's see.
Before they brought it back.
Before they brought it back, I did not realize that. I guess because as a kid, you're just so used to seeing the same episodes on TV. But if you had to pick a favorite episode, what would it be? I know that's probably hard to do.
I think we've discussed this on the show. If I had to choose, my favorite is probably Grandpa's Teeth. Because one of the things we talk about on our podcast is the chaos scene, which is exactly what it sounds like, and almost every Rugrats episode has it, particularly season 1. But as someone who is like also a writer, I love the escalation. Like one little thing, like a goose getting Grandpa's teeth in its mouth and them having to chase it down would be a chaos scene enough. But then it continues to escalate, and you get horses and elderly people and like veterans playing like instruments for the Veterans Day or Memorial Day or whatever it is. It's just the constant escalation of tension. Hilarious sound effects for the geese, great animation, just everything about it. I think it's the quintessential Rugrats episode.
Yeah, and I'm probably split between two because I've got one that manipulates me emotionally enough that I love it, which is Slumber Party, where Tommy gets very sick and starts having hallucinations during like his fever of all of his family taking care of them as the various characters of his mobile. And I just really love that episode. I even liked it as a kid. I like the music. I like how weird it is. But then as far as comedy goes, it's probably a tie between Grandpa's teeth and Real or Robots, where Stu is sleepwalking and just like terrifying these two children.
I can concur with all of those.
I'm surprised y'all were able to even pick favorite episodes because some are just so good. They're all so clever. And I always think of the one where, and I think it's I don't know if it's season 1 or in a future season, but it's like a Halloween party at Angelica's house.
Oh, yeah. Adam, have you gotten to that one yet?
That must be season 3.
I think it's season 3. And there's the giant baby.
Oh,
like they think, hey, pull my finger!
Oh no, I did see that. I just did see that one. It's season 2 then.
I had completely forgotten about that until I did a rewatch of the series for the podcast, and I that's a good one. That's a good one.
One of the funniest things about that is like they're sleeping like all night, and Angelica comes out to go to the bathroom, and this man who's dressed like a baby has been locked in the bathroom all night. She opens the door, and he just rushes out and says, "Pull my finger."
And Angelica like shrieking scream. One of the trademarks of the show, an episode ending on screaming.
I'm surprised that's the first thing he would say, especially to this small child he doesn't know.
Where are the kids? They're gonna love what I'm dressed as, or whatever he says.
Yeah, he's not even the one she's not even one of the ones he was chasing earlier. It's just a new kid.
He just stayed asleep.
I also so one that kind of, I don't know, traumatized is a little exaggerated, but the one where Angelica's parents think that they're going to have another baby.
Angelica's worst. What it's called.
Yes.
Like, listen here, sister. Like it's like a giant baby with this ultra deep voice.
Like a mobster or something.
Yeah, until like she's in a car and he's giant and he picks her up and he goes, num nums.
Well, spoiler for anybody listening to the podcast who is also playing Resident Evil 8. There is a pretty disturbing baby scene in there.
Oh yeah. But yeah. That
the entire plot with the baby in that is pretty disturbing.
But the one Lord specifically with the again, she already said spoilers, but I'll say it again, spoilers, in the House Beneviento, the giant monster baby.
That.
Okay. That entire segment scared the shit out of me. Yeah, I don't get not scared me, but just like the overwhelming sense of dread. Like I had to pause it and like I need to take a walk just because the tension building and building.
Yeah, and you don't have your weapons at all in that.
No. And apparently, I've seen a clip. If that baby catches you, it swallows you whole.
Yeah.
I was never caught, so I didn't see that while playing through. So.
Yeah, and it says yummy.
Oh, okay.
Which it seems a little off-brand for that moment to me.
It'd be funny if it was the same voice as Angelica's worst nightmare. They just got the same baby voice actor to say nom noms.
They missed out on a golden opportunity.
We'll watch it again, and it turns out it's Michael Bell.
Probably.
I'm a huge fan of the Resident Evil lore. Have y'all ever read the novels by S.D. Perry?
I have all of them. I read them when I was in high school. Yep.
Yeah, I used to bring them to school. I went to this Catholic school, and I would just pull out these books with zombies on the cover and read them after taking tests or whatever.
So what was your speaking of Resident Evil, what is your favorite Resident Evil?
So I guess it's because it's my first one, probably 2.
That's the answer. That's the correct answer.
Oh, good. I passed. So I have to tell you my introduction to Resident Evil. My dad, you remember KB Toys in the mall?
Yeah.
Okay, so my dad is a big gamer himself. He's the reason I like video games. And he picked up a copy of Resident Evil 2 for the Nintendo 64. And I didn't really think anything of it. And he's playing it. And he's like, oh, Celeste, I'm playing this game that's like a detective series. You're trying to find out what's going on. He did not divulge there were zombies. He did not divulge the horrors. So one day, one of my friends came over and we put it in, and I was horrified. And I managed to push through because the story is so engaging. And I love that you can read different files, people's diaries, and they have the Resident Evil archives. Do y'all have those books?
No.
No, I don't know. I've never read those or seen those.
It's kind of like the Hyrule Historia for Zelda. It's kind of like that for Resident Evil, where they have all the files, all the characters, the timeline. But the remake with Mr. X is
What a surprise that was.
oh my goodness. I've watched someone play it, but I'm having trouble doing it myself because I don't like being chased in games.
And it's constant.
Yeah, once you get the hang of it, it's not so bad.
Yeah, don't run crashing through every door. Just sneak around, or he will find you.
He will find you. So 2 is both of your favorite?
Yeah.
Definitely. Sorry, Adam. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, I just remember playing those games like as I guess a kind of a kid. Probably the first one came out when I was like 10 or maybe slightly younger. But I just remember like after I played them, even though you wouldn't even be scared now, but I would be like, oh God.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't walk my hallways in the dark. I was just so terrified of the pixelated zombies.
I remember when Resident Evil 3 came out, our mutual friend Nick, although I haven't actually talked to him in years, but he got Resident Evil 3 when it came out, and we were going to see if I could spend the night at his house, and I lived like right around the corner. And we were obviously horrified by Nemesis chasing you, and like we're like, okay, we got to like run this block to my house in pitch black, and like we're running like screaming like because Nemesis was obviously going to come murder us.
That's a terrifying one.
Yeah.
That I too was really scared. In fact, my 2 younger sisters shared a room, and I had my own room, but I would turn off the Nintendo 64 and run down the hallway and get into one of their beds, and they both had twin size beds, so it wasn't very big.
In that first game where the dogs jump through the windows, like even if you know they're coming, it's still like my heart skips a beat.
In 2, which I also actually played 2 first, and it was on N64, because I've always been a Nintendo guy. My grandma would watch me play video games, and she happened to be watching the moment in 2 when the crows crashed through the window, and then she was like, "Oh!"
I love that she watched you play video games, though.
Yeah.
That's really sweet.
And got terrified because of it.
Well, did she stick around to see when? Okay, spoiler: this game's been out since 1998. So spoiler, but the part in the interrogation room with the magic mirror where the liquor jumps out.
She must not have been in the room, or else I always just went in the other room first and killed it.
She was probably in there making them tater tots or something.
Tater tots.
Yeah, she always made us food when we played video games, so.
Can I have your grandma? She sounds awesome.
If she were still alive, I might share her, but.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, she was the best.
So are y'all happy or excited for any games coming out this year? Are y'all big into E3 or anything?
I thought I would have something, but my mind is currently a blank. I guess there's the Breath of the Wild 2 coming out, but I don't know like anything about it.
Two games for me. The Warhammer Darktide, which is, and again, another 4-player co-op sort of game that's a takeoff on Vermintide, but it's set in the future Warhammer 40k universe. And I'm a huge, huge fan of the Alien series. It's my favorite movie series ever. Despite a lot of them, we could talk about the Alien series separately, but there's a game, another co-op game, but it's called Aliens Fireteam. I'm really, really excited for that.
Ooh, one of the people with Boss Rush, David Lasby, he's our editor for the writing team, and he's also with Nintendo Pavlok. Huge Alien fan. He loves it so much.
I just got in the mail the original year's comic collection. It's like this thick. It's over 1,000 pages of the comics that came out in the late 80s, early 90s. It's incredible.
What? it? And it's in good condition?
It just came out, so I
Oh,
mean, so far,
okay. Oh, it just came out. Okay, I'm picturing something that came out at that time period.
oh,
Okay,
okay.
it's a compilation of it. Okay. Oh, that is so
Compendium
awesome.
Omnibus.
You used a clip from Alien in our commentary, right? The
Yeah,
self-destruct.
you now have 5 minutes to reach minimum safe distance. Yeah.
You know, as a kid, I thought self-destruct sequences were going to be way more common in my real life than they really are. I don't think I've ever encountered one.
Thanks, Alien series and Resident Evil.
Yeah, somebody cooked some fish in the microwave. The self-destruct sequence has been activated.
Oh gosh.
My roommate in grad school always made tuna in the microwave, so our house always just smelled like microwaved tuna.
Oh man, did you enjoy that scent?
I was not home very often because I was doing like the television and radio station, so I maybe avoided it, or maybe at that point in my life was drinking so much that I didn't care.
Drink the tuna away.
Yeah, exactly.
Matthew, you said that you're a writer, so would you like to expound on that?
I have an MFA in creative writing. My undergrad degree is in English and TV production. I've done some screenwriting stuff, nothing that's been made into a film yet, but actually a screenplay that I won an award for is actually that Adam and I worked on together, is based on a job that Adam had, and I will let you take it from here because you can explain it better than me.
Basically, I worked for a very egotistical, weird guy at a church when I was just before I was old enough to drink. And I say that because he was always supplying us workers with like beer and liquor. And I just remember when he got me into the church, he he looked at me and with a very serious face, he said, "You know, I'm probably the smartest person you're ever going to meet."
Wow.
Yeah, and you know, he would always go on about how great all of his achievements were, but like he really came off as like just a bullshitter, very dumb guy. He put me in a lot of situations where I possibly could have died, like painting the ceiling and walls of the church with stolen scaffolding from the people that were fixing the windows outside the church. They took all of the safety equipment to hold the scaffolding together. So we just had like 2x4s and stuff that we stood on. They would slide off as we're up on the scaffolding.
Whoa. Did he have some kind of problem?
One suspects.
I mean, he sucked, yeah.
That's his problem.
He was like a Beavis and Butthead character in the real world. He escaped from the TV to torment me.
Didn't he also tell you that he was like a secret knight of the Catholic Church or something like that?
Oh yeah, he loved to do that, and he he told stories that I don't know how he thought they made him sound flattering. I'm not really gonna get into them. He would like,
yeah, wait for the show to get produced.
Yeah.
So this is a movie y'all made based off of this character and your experience?
Just a script for a TV show.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, it's a pilot script, but hopefully it gets picked up. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Please keep me updated because I would love that.
If you want to read it, just let us know and I can send it to you.
Oh, I love that. I grew up in a Catholic area and I went to Catholic school, so it's always amusing to read about other people's experiences with that.
This is what, a Ukrainian Catholic church, Adam?
Yeah.
Whatever that delineation means.
It means there's a lot of Ukrainian people there.
Oh, that means they make pierogies for holidays.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Oh, I've never had those. Are those good?
Yeah, they're good.
It's also a Pittsburgh thing. Like we have pierogies everywhere there, so
Yeah.
That would be awesome to try. So I think that area has a lot of Polish and Russian, Ukrainian influence.
Yeah, for sure. You
That's
see a lot of
awesome.
onion dome churches.
What?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I want to go see the architecture.
I mean, yeah, the Pittsburgh's a great city. Neither of us live there anymore, but it's a great city, great area.
You can also see a T-Rex dressed as Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, outside the museum. And Mr.
Okay.
Rogers is from Pittsburgh, so all that stuff is around, and there are like statues of dinosaurs everywhere, and because it's because of its legacy as a steel town, with Andrew Mellon and Andrew Carnegie, there's like just way more cultural riches than you would expect to find in a city of its size. But yeah, it's a good city. Would recommend.
Oh, I would love to visit it. I have
Yeah.
a friend who lives in, I think she pronounces it Lancaster.
Yeah, that's like central PA, the Amish area, which is the
Yeah.
stereotype. Of course, there are
She-
Amish around the whole state, but that's where I think they're most commonly cloistered.
Yeah, because she said when she was learning how to drive, she had to watch out for horses and buggies.
Yeah, it happens. Yep.
So, regarding Rugrats, what is it like revisiting this? I know, I'm so sorry.
No, this is literally this is our pod. We're recreating our podcast and like with a guest, like almost like if you were the guest right now. Like,
Well, I like that. I like getting to know people better, and I think listeners do as well. But I'm curious, what is it like revisiting this cartoon you loved as children, as adults? Have your opinions changed? Are there things you notice about the show now versus when you were kids?
I mean, it's funnier, like as an adult, like and it's not even just because of the adult jokes. I mean, just like their attitudes toward things, is a lot funnier. Like being jaded that the other parents are dropping their kids off yet again, or just like, I guess I never dawned on me how much Stu irritated Dee Dee sometimes.
And there's just this general weirdness that maybe as a little kid you don't pick up so much, but especially in season one. There we go, talking about season one again. But it's there's just the animation, the music, just people's reactions to things. It's just it's a really bizarre show. I mean, even just being a show, it's about talking babies, which in itself is weird. But I mean, it's especially the first season, but the first three, there's just I don't know. It's hard to put my finger on it. And just the adult humor that's in there too. I mean, Rugrats taught me about who Dr. Kevorkian is. So, I mean, it's just a good show, classic show, and I think I like it more now too.
I don't think y'all have covered this episode yet because I would remember, and I don't know if it's in season one, but it's the Nakey episode.
When Tommy becomes the high priest of baby nudism.
Yes. Oh, I like that description. That's funny.
Who says that in that episode?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We have not covered that yet, no, but that's a good episode.
That's season 3, so it'll be a few months.
Remember, Nakey is good, Nakey is free, Nakey is Nakey.
I think if we polled, we've been planning on polling people for their favorite episode. I think that one would probably win. Like just guessing. Like,
you think?
I think that's the one we've been asked about it a few times already. So
I can't even remember.
So yeah, probably sometime before we record the first episode of season 2, I'll put a poll up on our Twitter and ask. Well, not a poll, but just like ask everybody what their favorite episode is, and we'll try and make that episode extra special. If we've already covered it, and the off chance that we've already covered it, we might revisit it with some bonus stuff.
That's the one by John on.
John, your friend, yeah.
We actually have no idea if he likes Rugrats or has ever watched it. I mean, I'm sure he's watched it, but
or if he's listened to our podcast.
Well, no, we know he listened to the first. He was like, we're gonna listen. I'll definitely listen to the first episode, and then he didn't talk to us for like a month.
Was he offended?
That's what we like to assume, anyway.
Oh, I just remember from the Nakey episode as a kid, and you might even know what part I'm talking about. As a kid, this didn't make any sense to me when they're all taking off their diapers, and Lil, of course, is the only girl.
Lil,
And
can I ask you a question?
Yes! As a kid, a little kid, it didn't really make sense. And as I would see that episode as I'm older, I kind of started putting the puzzle pieces together.
Classic moment.
Yes. And because of Rugrats, I learned about Hanukkah and Kwanzaa.
I never saw the Kwanzaa one. I know that's after season 3. But the Passover special is good. The Hanukkah special is good. Mother's Day episode isn't bad. But yeah, how is the Kwanzaa episode?
It's been forever since I've seen
Okay.
it. I just know it revolves around the Carmichaels because they're the only black family. Well, not only, but primary black family. But I think there was a book about it too. It does. You know, it's really sad. It doesn't stick out in my mind as much as the Jewish episodes. I guess because those were reruns. I think
they made a bigger deal of those when they were airing too. I think they like really promoted those heavily. I remember like Nickelodeon talking about those quite a bit before they aired.
Definitely, like that. Both of those specials were like heavily advertised, and I remember, Adam, I think we may have discussed this on an episode. When they would have like special event episodes, like even years later when we just like stopped watching the show, they'll be like, "Oh, there's gonna be a new baby." It's like, "Oh, well, you got to watch this episode." Or they did like all grown up or all growed up, excuse me. It's like, well, I guess I'll check that out because it's something different. So, but no, never saw the Kwanzaa episode. Also, speaking of Susie, like everybody associates her as being such a huge part of the show. In the original 3 seasons, she's in like 5 episodes and that's it. She's barely in the show.
I think for me, she sticks out so much because she was the antithesis of Angelica.
Yeah.
And I really admired how strong and kind she's portrayed. And I remember with her family the night that her older sister has to babysit all the kids in addition to her siblings.
Yeah, that monsters.
Yeah, I always wanted that Book of Monsters. I wanted that thing.
Designs.
You think they just got like a Dungeons and Dragons monster manual?
No, I'd probably recognize it if that were the case. What a nerd.
Well, how do you feel about now? I can't remember if you said you've watched them. Did you watch the movies or you've never seen
the first one? I've seen the first one. I didn't like it as much. Like even when it first came out, like I was kind of excited for it. I was like, "Oh, cool, a Reptar car or something." And they're gonna formally introduce the new baby, Dill. But it was just kind of weird, like in a way that I didn't like as much as the older shows. Like the scene with all the newborn babies in the room together, and they're singing a song, and you've got like Bob Dylan and other singers providing voices for the babies as they sing, and like I think they all pee into the air and it crosses
like a fountain.
Yeah.
I saw it one time in the theater. I remember liking it. I don't think I would like it now. And Adam, I think we talked about this briefly on the show that I think Paul Germain has specifically said that one of the creators has specifically said that he doesn't like it because it's not like the humor of the show. It's just something completely different. Of course, everything after season 3 is like that, but.
And yeah, I don't know if I'm remembering wrong, but I think there's even talking monkeys in it.
It's pretty wild. I'm not a big fan of it. Let me know if you guys feel this way. I have a big issue with the jumping the shark trope of let's just throw a new baby into the show.
Yeah.
I think we discussed that on an episode I haven't edited yet. But that's literally what it is. It's like, hey, look, there's a new baby. That'll draw people in. Like, no, just give us good stories and then we'll watch it.
Yeah, I wonder if ratings were down when it came back or something.
Awesome.
Because it was a few seasons before they added Dill, right?
I think it was season 6, I want to say.
Yeah, so
I guess it makes sense because I'm assuming the parents are pretty young because they have young children. So I guess it would make sense that there's a chance Dee Dee and Stu or anybody would have another kid. But I also hate how my whole life, anytime I'd watch a movie and they portray labor, it was the most dramatic, horrifying, terrifying experience, and Dee Dee's experience with Dill is no exception in that movie. So
I just
that
watched
was pretty troubling.
I just watched Coneheads yesterday.
Oh, God.
And there's the birth scene in that one too.
I get, maybe it's because I had two siblings, and one of my fears was that my parents were gonna like just have more children. So I didn't want them to get any ideas from Rugrats. I don't know. I have no idea.
Oh,
But
that baby on Rugrats is so good. We need to have another.
I don't know. You know how when you're a kid,
Yeah,
you
I
just,
know.
your logic is not the best.
You should have showed them an old episode with Tommy destroying their kitchen or
Oh my. Okay. I didn't even think of this on the list, but because you both were mentioning how you like video games, did you ever play any Rugrats video games or computer games?
I remember my friend's little sister playing one. I never played one.
No.
What? There weren't any like pre-PlayStation 1, right? PlayStation 1 was the first. I didn't have a PS1, so I like missed a big stretch of video games I could have played, and I might have played Rugrats had I had one.
My sisters had one for the Game Boy Color about Angelica, and I think you could dress her up, and it was marketed to girls. And there was a computer game we used to like to play where you could explore the house. And for the Nintendo 64, there was this treasure hunting board game. I don't know if that rings a bell.
I think that's what my friend's sister had.
Oh, I didn't even know about that. So I guess it was on the N64. So I have no excuses. I just didn't know about it.
You didn't know you were going to be a famous podcaster talking about Rugrats when you were a kid.
You better go find a copy somewhere. Get to pawn shopping.
Yeah.
As a kid, I really enjoyed it. I don't know if I'd like it now.
Probably not. I find with a lot of things like that, it's like your fandom carries you beyond the probably inherent flaws of the game. But you play it as an adult and you're like, oh God, this is a nightmare to control.
That didn't always that wasn't always the case on like Super Nintendo though. Like all those movie or show tie-in games, a lot of them were pretty good. Probably for NES also, but once it got to like N64 and PS1, like the show and movie tie-in games were like just unfun, completely awful.
Yeah.
I really liked the Toy Story Super Nintendo game.
Oh yeah. That's good.
That's one I remember really liking. But I don't remember a lot of other movie tie-in ones.
There was like Aladdin and Lion King.
Mm-hmm. I do remember those. And I think they had one for Cool Town.
The Cool Spot, like the 7-Up game? Or like Cool World, like the movie Cool World?
Cool World.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. It's the one this girl has blonde hair.
Yeah.
And she's meant to be like the femme fatale. I remember that one.
That's like a Ralph Bakshi movie, isn't it, Matthew? Like,
yeah, I think it came out not too long after Roger Rabbit, and like unlike Roger Rabbit, everyone hated it.
Didn't y'all recently watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
I haven't seen it in a long time.
I mean, I love it. I haven't seen it in a long time, but when I was little, it was one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought y'all were talking about it on the podcast.
I don't think so.
Oh man, I listened to a lot of podcasts.
Movie, would recommend.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was thinking of another podcast where somebody's talking about watching Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and it seems very in line with the topics you two discuss.
Yeah.
So
there's an idea, Adam. We can review that.
Yeah, review. I would love
or an audio commentary.
So I think I mistyped it, Matthew, because you call it All Grown Up. But okay, did they rebrand it to All Grown Up? Okay.
Yes, the very first special was All Growed Up, and then it became All Grown Up for the actual series.
Okay, because I do remember that. Let's imagine the babies as preteens or teenagers.
I think they're like 12 or 13, maybe even 10 or 11, but it's somewhere in that range. They're not more than 14. Like Angelica and Susie are probably 13 or 14, but I'd say 11 to 14.
Yeah, I think it's 10 years in the future. So
Makes sense.
how so how do y'all feel about that spinoff?
It's very forgettable. I haven't rewatched it.
I remember when it came out, like I said with these event episodes, I was really excited to see it, the original special, and I did watch it, and I remember kind of liking it, but I don't remember a damn thing about it. Well, no, that's not true. I remember the singer in the end. For some reason, I remember her name is Emika, which I recently referenced on the show, but that's the only thing I remember. There's nothing that sticks out of my mind about it.
I'm gonna get embarrass Matthew on somebody else's podcast, but Tommy Pickles in All Grown Up reminds me a little bit of him in high school.
Oh, the haircut.
The haircut and he had a video camera. Not that you like carried one around, but you were like taking classes for
video TV production. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's
So
true. That's a really good point.
I thought it was clever, but at the same time, it's forgettable because I guess I was too old at that point. And there was another show related to being a teenager called As Told by Ginger that I was really fond of at the time. I think it's by the same.
I never watched it.
Klasky Zupo, I think, makes it.
Yeah, it's that one's decent. My wife's really fond of it, so we got it set up for her to watch when she wants to. She hasn't gotten to it yet, but
I think
this
it's
guy
more...
in his movies or TV shows. Remember that time I went to your house before you took me to the airport and like we just watched like 15 different shows, and I was like, I have like 15 new shows to get into now.
What are y'all watching anything right now besides Rugrats?
Yeah.
I just finished watching the Wonder Years rewatch. I do really enjoy that still. And every time I watch it, I feel more and more that Kevin Arnold, the main character, is just a horrible person.
I have been watching new episodes of Star Wars The Bad Batch on Fridays when they come out. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. It's a good show. It's basically immediately following the Clone Wars, if that means anything to anybody out there. Of course it does. Star Wars is huge. I recently watched the final season of Castlevania on Netflix. I'm a big fan of that. I watch a million different things on YouTube. The heck else do it? I'm trying to get into Werner Herzog movies. Like,
oh, what are those? I'm not familiar.
Adam, go ahead.
Oh, he's a German documentary filmmaker. Well, not only documentary films, but he's known for a lot of documentary films, like Grizzly Man, was a really big one about Timothy Treadwell up in Alaska. He really thought he was helping the grizzly bears there, but he stayed a few weeks too long into the season where they weren't getting enough food from nature, and it didn't end up well for him.
And I just recently watched his Herzog's documentary My Best Friend, which is with this actor that he worked with a lot on, I think, 5 films, named Klaus Kinski, who was a fucking psychopath. And like this every stereotype you can imagine of like an actor on set freaking out because they're not getting what they want, that's Klaus Kinski. But if you actually watch him on screen, he's absolutely incredible to watch. But I can't imagine the patience that Herzog had dealing with him.
Did you see Aguirre, The Wrath of God?
No, but that's on my list. I'm watching. Actually, I have another tab open right now. His version of Nosferatu.
Wow, the classic vampire movie?
Yeah, he made a version in '79, I believe, with Klaus Kinski as Nosferatu. But you can imagine this miserable person wearing this makeup and having to shave his head. That's...
Speaking of movies, I mean, I know we follow each other on Twitter. I don't know if you saw that I tweeted Rob Zombie is going to be doing a movie version of The Munsters, the TV show.
I mean, that's basically his thing. Like, that's more his thing than Halloween is his thing.
I'm just picturing it because of the movies that he's made, that the monsters are just going to be like redneck cannibals. And it comes back to cannibalism again.
We circle back to cannibalism.
Yeah, but no, I can't imagine him making something with like the good-hearted, sweet tone that the original show has. I mean, maybe it'll work, but we have no idea what it's going to be.
They're just gonna set them driving in their weird car to Dragula.
because they have a car called Dragula, but I think it's the actual drag racing car. I think their motor coach is something else.
I just can't picture him making something that's not sleazy, I guess is that. Not that I don't enjoy stuff with that tone in movies or TV shows, but like it's for the Munsters, it's just like, I don't know.
It seems too pure. Don't touch Lily and Herman. I see. I read that Elvira will be in it too.
Oh, anything Elvira's in, that's an improvement.
Well, I see that he's casting his wife, obviously, as a character. I believe she's going to be Lily. So I don't know if Elvira is going to be the niece or just another character. I'm trying to picture that.
Random Rugrats connection to Rob Zombie. E.G. Daily is actually in the Devil's Rejects. I think it's the Devil's Rejects, but I think she plays a prostitute.
Oh, Tommy's voice actress.
Yeah, Tommy's voice that plays a prostitute. I'm pretty sure. I haven't seen it in a long time, but
Tommy, what happened?
Yeah. She's also got the hots for Pee-wee in Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
I didn't know that until you told me that.
She's Dottie.
I was so sad when I read maybe about a year ago or recently that Chucky's voice actress passed away.
Yeah.
The original voice actress. Yeah. And she was Dexter's Laboratory, a lot of stuff.
If you like the movie Babe, she was the original voice for the first movie. Then E.G. Daily took over for the second movie.
More Rugrats connections.
Yeah.
I love that. So you have an episode where you talk about this new updated series of Rugrats. And what do you think about the updated series for people who haven't caught that episode yet?
Well, I thought it was okay. Adam hates it. I mean, it could have been way worse. I do think, and actually, Adam, this is a question I'll ask you too. I will ask you. I think that the first episode of it is actually better than seasons 4 through 9 of what I can remember. What do you think about that, Adam?
You're probably right. I don't know. Most of the jokes in it, I'm just watching and I just watch. I don't have any reaction to them whatsoever. I think you could say the same thing about the newer seasons of Rugrats. I did watch one episode of Rugrats in like season 7 or 8 or something, and I only picked it because there was a picture of Tommy Pickles as a ghost in the episode art. And of course I went there, and I did laugh because they had the real monsters from Real Monsters in it. And there was like a joke about a monster shitting on the toilet. I laughed at that.
And this is the season 6 episode, not the reboot.
And and there was a joke about they say something about, they tell Crumb that you don't want to eat babies. There's like candy downstairs, and Crumb's like, candy or babies?
Good line.
Wow. Yeah, it sounds like y'all aren't gonna maybe keep up with the series too much.
I watched all but, unless they put more. There were 5 of the new show put on. I wanted to say Amazon Prime, but it's Paramount Plus. I've watched all but one of them. They were all okay, but that being said, I don't remember anything about them other than the pilot of the reboot. So I think ultimately it's just going to be forgettable with a few moments that are kind of funny, and it is what it is.
Yeah, I watched a little further into it, and there were some episodes that I wasn't as bored by. But yeah, I'll probably still watch it and hope they get better.
Because we have a podcast about Rugrats. I think one of the things about it is that structurally the episodes feel strange. We didn't get to talk about the episodes beyond the pilot on our podcast, but I think they all just feel like they happen and then kind of end. after the initial pilot. Like it's like a sequence of events and then there's an ending, whereas there was always like a period or an exclamation mark of screaming in the original series. And and I just think it's like, well, okay, episode done, on to the next thing. It's like there's nothing to like hammer it home and make you remember it. If that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. I really love the Halloween episode from season 1 that y'all covered.
Yeah.
You know, the kids screaming and then you see the moon. I think that's the last shot of the episode, this full moon.
Yeah. Like pulling back from the
music in that episode is just so amazing. Like anytime I think of that episode, I think of the music instantly. It's just so good.
It made me. Now I'm gonna have to put out like cold spaghetti noodles and grapes for the trick or treaters this year and say they're eyeballs and worms.
Ew, eyeballs.
But speaking of other cartoons that we've been talking about, you've talked about different shows you've loved for many years. Would you like to cover other shows, or I guess you'd have to create a new podcast, the new name and everything?
We might just keep it the same and just like we've been talking about
Rugrats podcast.
Yeah, we'll take off the Rugrats podcast. Like call it It's Doug now.
We've definitely discussed we're not going to do Rugrats forever. I think we even say that in the very first episode of the podcast. And we may go to the point that we can't stand watching it anymore and then switch. But there are like so many underappreciated shows. Like on this most recent episode, we talk about Mission Hill, which is one of the great unsung cartoons of all time. And we've talked about doing Doug. We've talked about Ren and Stimpy a little bit. Rocco. I really like Undergrads. I don't think you're as big of a fan of it as I am, but
you even mentioned Pete and Pete as a possibility too.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be animated. Like, you're not a Star Wars fan, Adam. I was thinking about forcing him to watch The Mandalorian. So.
Yep. We can do that as pay content.
Get
if I gotta
some
be
money
tortured,
for your
I get
suffering. Oh, I hope y'all do a Doug one. That was another one of my favorite shows.
I think I was traumatized more by Doug, the sweet, innocent Doug, than Rugrats.
Which
Really?
If you watch the documentary The Orange Years, which is about the creation of Nickelodeon, what's the creator's
Jim Jenkins?
Jim Jenkins. He's in it. He looks, if Doug became an old man and became not animated, he looks exactly like Jim Jenkins. It's insane.
Jim Jenkins.
Also check out the documentary The Orange Years. It's really, really good.
So did
it's
Jim
about
Jenkins
like
pass away?
Nickelodeon's origins and up through a certain point, and it's
Not
a
that
really
I know of.
documentary.
Oh, thank you for that recommendation, because I'm always looking for a good documentary. Sometimes the murder ones get a little old, you know.
Oh, and it's Jenkins with an I, if that's
Oh, okay. With J-I?
Yep. Jinkins.
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 I can see it.
If, like I said, if he grew up to be an old man that wasn't animated, it would be Jim Jenkins.
Can we talk about another jumping the shark with having a baby cartoon?
Please.
Oh,
That
Doug.
Oh, that was Disney's Doug, wasn't it?
It was kind of like a weird transition. It was like in between. It was like limbo between Nickelodeon and Disney, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't it kids? I remember almost nothing about Disney's Doug, except that even as a little kid, I was like, this isn't very good.
Yeah, they named the kid Dirt Bike, I believe.
Yeah, you're right.
Dirt bike, because, you know.
They found the
that...
kid's Christmas list and thought they were a names list.
I guess it's better than naming him Dirtbag. It's just my son Dirtbag.
I remember that Doug's sleeves get longer in the Disney one.
And I think Skeeter has a jacket now, and Patty's hair shorter,
and Doug suddenly isn't Billy West anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, that's disappointing. I love the episode. Well, I love it. It was sad. Maybe this is what traumatized you, Adam, when Doug accidentally breaks Patty's old house.
Oh yeah,
That's so heartbreaking.
Was that the original show?
Yeah, that was definitely he threw a stone into an old abandoned house and somehow he hit it in the perfect way that it fell down.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, it's kind of like watching a Rube Goldberg machine.
What I think Doug does is it teaches you how to be anxious. It gives you anxieties you would never have had if Doug hadn't vocalized them in front of you at a young age.
I think as a little kid, I was like, what's he so worried about all the time?
I didn't realize what the picture above his bed meant as a kid. It's like loose lips and it has a ship sinking. Now now it's like, oh, okay. I get it. I thought it was a band. But I think
I mean, there probably is a band called Loose Lips, to be fair.
Yeah. Probably in the Doug universe also.
You think it's better than the band at the end of the Rugrats reboot?
I mean, yes. If the beats are anything to go by,
and also Doug's band.
Oh, yeah. Now, okay, not the Beats, but what did he have a name for his band?
I don't remember what it was, but they sang "Banging on a Trash Can," right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Drumming on a
Big.
Streetlight. Yes.
Yeah. Like yes. Doug and the Dugettes. Like I don't.
Was it the Funnies?
Remember?
Was it like Doug and the Funnies? Maybe.
That would be a great name, but I'm not sure it is.
That would be. I haven't revisited that in a long time. Like, for a long time, the episodes that I could find to watch did not include that one. So even like in college when we were watching it together, we didn't have that one.
I'm really... looking it up right now, and I'm not seeing a name. I wonder if they just never named the band. But
I remember like they made it like a music video with that song.
Yeah, yep.
There's got to be a name in the music video. Why don't we just make some awkward pauses?
Yeah.
Were y'all big Cartoon Network fans too?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Adult Swim especially. Those early ones that are just so bizarre.
It's Doug's Garage Band.
Yeah. Oh, it says Doug's Garage Band.
Oh, I like my name better, Doug and the Funnies.
Yeah, but take what we can get.
Oh, I would love to hear your commentary on some Cartoon Network shows one day.
Yeah, one we talked about kind of was I don't know if it ever made it onto an episode. It might have been when we were just planning it, but Two Stupid Dogs. You remember that one?
Yeah, I did read that in the episode.
And
well, isn't that cute? But it's wrong.
And then Dexter's Lab is probably the top cartoon in my book.
So good. Oh man, I love it whenever Dee Dee wants to tell him this one joke and they end up transforming into these different creatures in his lab.
Yeah, they like kind of.
I don't know if y'all remember that one. It's pretty old.
Yeah, I do. They're kind of. Are they chasing each other with like a remote control and like pointing it at each other, or
are they drinking some kind of like potion or?
Oh yeah, that
chemical?
Might be it. The remote control one is in the pilot episode. They're animals as they're getting ready for school.
Yes. I remember that. Well, how can people support you?
Well, I don't know if Matthew noticed, but like 10 minutes before we started this interview, I created a Patreon page.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
Maybe by the time this airs, there'll be tiers and bonus content on there, but it's patreon.com/lostcontrolpod.
And also, if you just go to lostcontrolpod.com, which will take us, it takes you to Podbean, but there are links over on the side for like our link tree for all the different places that you can listen to the podcast if Podbean isn't your format of choice. Twitter.com/lostcontrolpod. There's an Instagram, a Facebook group. I think Twitter is the most active. At least has the most people follow.
And it's the one I update the most.
Yeah.
Do people talk a lot about the episodes in the Facebook group?
No.
Not really. I kind of would like to see more interaction like that. Comments about the episodes, like little bits that they liked or that listeners liked. But I don't know. We'll see if it picks up. I mean, we're still how long have we been doing this? 2 months?
Just over.
Just over?
Mhm.
So, yeah. What? 12 full episodes. So, yeah, I guess it is 3 months.
Wow.
We started March 21st.
So, yeah, we're into June. It's about 3 months. And then there's 2 bonus episodes. But yeah, I mean, I don't think we're going to go we talked about this a little bit for our page. This is funny. We're going to discuss what we're going to do with our Patreon on your podcast.
Please.
Yeah, right. I think to start off with, we're just going to have really, really basic tiers, like $1. It's like, hey, thanks a lot. And then like $5. It's like, we'll read your name at the end of an episode or something. And then as we get more ideas, maybe build it out. Maybe like, if we get like a really high tier, we'll draw you something and mail it to you or talk to you on Skype or something with our valuable time, because with our millionaire podcasting salaries.
Yeah, we have to basically get to the point where we can sacrifice the time that it would take to do that. We're still not there yet. I think it's just been a money sink so far, only for Matthew.
It's okay. I just got a new job today, so I'm good with it.
Oh, congratulations. Wow, that's awesome. What a busy day for you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for
found
making
out about
time.
it while at my current job.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, so today wasn't your first day.
No. And that
Okay.
won't start until August because academic schedule. But
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, good luck to you. I hope that you really enjoy it, and I hope it brings you a lot of happiness, because we spend so much time at work, we might as well like it a little bit.
Yeah. It's a benefit or bonus, rather.
Yeah. Well, thank you all so much for making time this evening. And where can people find you?
LostControlPod.com. That'll
Yep.
take you to the Podbean site right now. You said there's a link to the link tree on the page.
Yep. And the Twitter, at least.
Yeah, and our Twitter at Lost Control Pod. There's a link to our link tree that'll take you to all the platforms that are currently hosting us.
Nobody's dropped us yet.
No.
Not enough listeners to be offended by cannibalism.
I'm sure there are podcasts about cannibalism out there.
This will be old news by the time this comes out, but we just interviewed Michael Bell, the voice of Drew Pickles and Boris and Chaz.
Yeah.
I am so excited for that episode.
That should be out in 3 weeks.
Okay.
So look for it then. We have 2 more episodes to finish out season 1 of the show, and then the Michael Bell interview will come out, and then we don't know what we're doing. If we're going to jump right into season 2, take a break and do some other stuff, do episodes where we just bullshit with each other. As you can see, we're very good at that. And tangents. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you both so much. Is there anything else you'd like listeners to know?
Do you have anything to say, Adam?
Put it on me.
I have something, but I'm just letting you go first.
I have nothing right now.
Okay, I just wanted to say Hinkle Finkle Dinkle Do. And that is a Rugrats reference.
I haven't heard that one in years. Well, I did find a picture of my Reptar bar, and I made sure to tag you in it on Instagram.
Sweet.
It was very sweet. But because our FYE is closed now, I no longer have access to Reptar bars.
I don't know if the one around me is closed or not. I mean, I don't really buy physical media anymore, sadly. But maybe I should go see if it's open just to see if they have a Reptar bar.
Yeah.
Thank you both again so much. It's been so much fun. I really enjoy the podcast, and I look forward to seeing the other things that you do, maybe the other shows that you discuss. And listeners, you can find us at bossrushgames.com with the Boss Rush Network with all kind of shows about video games and other interviews. and I don't know what's on Matthew's face.
I guess I do have something I want to say. Thank you for
Oh,
having us
good.
on.
Yes,
Oh,
thank you.
you're welcome. You are
Thank
so
you for
welcome.
enjoying the show so much.
Oh my gosh, I look forward to it every Sunday.
You're probably number one super fan at this point because not only do you listen to the show, but you actually wanted to talk to us after listening to it.
Well, thank you, Kayla from the Bad Bitches podcast, for retweeting about their show because it made my life.
Wow, high praise.
Well, everybody.
Adam, one of our upcoming episodes will say that the only podcast that made Celeste's life.
Well, thank you all for listening, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.